Good morning, Michael here, and today again we're looking at Hebrews 10, and we're going to focus on verse 5 to 10 today. And as I said, it's a lot motivated by what's written therein and the period of Lent that we're presently in. I'd just like to read a couple of verses from Psalms 40, verse 6 to 8. Verse 6 says, Sacrifice and offering thou didst not desire. Mine ears hast thou opened. Burnt offering and sin offering hast thou not required. Then said I, Lo, I come. In the volume of the book it is written of me. I delight to do thy will, O my God. Yea, thy law is within my heart. And as we look at the Enduring Word Commentary, he does reference that Psalms 40:68 gives a prophetic foundation for Jesus' perfect sacrifice under the new covenant. And as we look at Hebrews 5 to 10, Therefore when he came into the world, he said, Sacrifice and offering you did not desire, but a body you have prepared for me. In burnt offerings and sacrifices for sin, you had no pleasure. Then I said, Behold, I have come. In the volume of the book it is written of me, to do your will, O God. Previously saying sacrifice and offering, burnt offerings and offerings for sin, you did not desire, nor had pleasure in them, which are offered according to the law. Then he said, Behold, I have come to do your will, O God. He takes away the first, that he may establish the second. By that will we have been sanctified through the offering of the body of Jesus Christ, once for all. He said. This quotation is taken from the Septuagint version of Psalms 46:8. The Septuagint is the ancient Greek translation of the Old Testament that was the most common used Bible in that century. It shows that prophetically Jesus declared the insufficient character of the Old Covenant sacrifice and declared his willingness to offer perfect sacrifice under the New Covenant. B. Sacrifice and offering you did not desire. More animal sacrifices made under the law would not please God. Repeatedly in the Old Testament, God expressed his desire for obedience rather than sacrifice. Sacrifice and offering, burnt offering and sacrifices for sin. It is probable that the four terms which the psalmist uses for sacrifice are intended to cover all the main types of offerings prescribed in the Levitical law. C. What a body you have prepared for me. Instead, what pleased God could only come through Jesus, the incarnate Son of God. In the incarnation, the body of Jesus was perfectly prepared and suited to live as fully man and fully God. There is no question that the author is convinced about the reality of the preexistence of Christ. His incarnation itself is viewed as an act of submission to God's will, and as such, an anticipation of his supreme submission to that will in death. D. Behold, I have come to do your will, O God. Jesus' submissions to God the Father will had its ultimate fulfillment in his obedience to the cross. The desire to do God's will was shown in the Garden of Gethsemane, Luke 22:39-44, and fulfilled at the cross. To do thy will, O God, is the aim of the perfect man. It has only partially been fulfilled by even the most pious of men, except by Jesus. What was seen as the most desirable aim for the psalmist becomes an expression of fact on the lips of Jesus. See, behold, I have come to do your will, O God. The sacrifice of Jesus was determined before the foundation of the world. Yet it was still an act of his will to submit to the incarnation and the cross at the appointed time. By that will we have been sanctified through the offering of the body of Jesus Christ. Our sanctification, our being set apart to God, is founded on the will of Jesus, not our own will. It is founded on the offering of Jesus, not on our own offering or sacrifices for God. Once for all. These are the important words of this passage, and the writer to the Hebrews repeats the theme over and over again. Once for all. The one sacrifice does the work that the many fail to do. One wonders how priests who claim that the Mass is a sacrifice of Christ's body, repeated, explain this verse. The heavenly high priest has indeed a continual ministry to discharge on his people's behalf at the Father's right hand. But that is the ministry of intercession on the basis of the sacrifice presented and accepted once and for all. It is not the constant or repeated offering of his sacrifice. The last misconception has no doubt been fostered in the Western Church by a defective Vulgate rendering which springs from a well-known inadequacy of the Latin verse. Well, just looking at the commentary that they have here on verse 5 to 10 from Hebrews chapter 10, it is it does take some kind of spiritual revelation to really dot the T's and cross the T's and dot the I's in terms of appreciating the full sensibility of it all. But Jesus, it is, who paid the ultimate price. So great was his sacrifice that it's once and for all. No longer do we need the blood of bulls and bullocks. Once and for all, Christ died, that our sins may be redeemed. If thou canst believe, thou canst have everlasting life. Well, trust you enjoyed some of the commentary. Michael here declaring, Jesus is Lord.